Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the 92nd episode of Abyssal Musings.
What is it you pray for?
Okay, let's try that again. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the 92nd episode of Abyssal Musings. My name is Sammy the Infamous, and with me is my co-host, Lawrence Knight. Hi there.
Okay. Wow.
We're having a few technical difficulties, as you guys
Hi.
can
If we
probably...
could get everything going tonight.
Yeah, is there a delay on your end for me?
Hello.
Kind of sounds like there might be. So I promise, guys, we got a show.
Oh man, it looks like this is a very show. If StreamYard and my internet will let me show it. This is crazy.
Yes, indeed. So, for those of you in the chat, for those of you watching, let us know about any sound issues, any kind of overriding. If there's some kind of delay or something like that, let us know, please, because we're having a day. It's been a long week. Perfect
We're
way to cap
definitely
it off,
having
I
a
guess.
day.
Yeah. So, but yes, we do have a show tonight.
No.
And we. Sorry.
Sam?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a
Okay.
delay on your end.
Now I'll see where the confusion is coming from. Well, no. There was another window. I had reels of our show, and it was one I didn't catch times. So I was going through trying to find them to turn them off. If that makes any sense.
Sure.
Sam?
Yeah, I heard you. And I'm telling you, I think that there's a delay on your
boy.
end. You might want to try just refreshing the website real quick, and then I'll go through chat and whatnot while you're doing that. It should
Yeah, let me
correct.
reload.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kohai. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's like he's not got his normal setup right now available to him, so we're kind of working around that. Kind of like how you guys got used to my shitternet. So it is what it is. But do appreciate that. Let's start with at the top. We've got obviously Lawrence Knight first because you know how he gets, folks. We have Kohai Masochist with us as always. Good to see you. Good to see you. I see Suka in the chat with us. Everybody giving Larry shit. And I think that's everybody who's in chat currently right now at this moment. One second, please.
There we go.
Didn't want to cough in y'all's ear. So right now, currently, we are live on YouTube, Twix, and Rumble. If you are in any of those places, feel free to drop comments and likes and all the good stuff. And hey, if you're not subscribed, I don't usually do this. I haven't done this for a while, but I'm gonna start, begging for subs because we've been sitting at 292 on YouTube for like 2 months now. It's driving me crazy. So if you're watching, you're not subscribed, and you do like what you see here, please do. We do a different show of a different kind on Saturdays, but this one I think is where it's at most of the time. Larry, how's your setup now?
In and out, but I mean, it's the internet because once again I'm outside in the car, so the internet's not working as well as it did last week. But however, there is a space that is being worked on for me to do our podcast. So I think tonight will be the last night that I will be in the car, hopefully, because my internet's literally
Good deal.
it's like on one dot. It goes up and then it's going down.
Oh yeah, that's going to cause problems for you, generally speaking. So yeah, that's we're going to work around this as best as we can, folks. So please do bear with us. We're continuing with the versus bracket tonight. Larry's got a couple of articles for us. We may have a surprise guest pop in at some point. So yeah, we're this is episode 92. We're creeping ever closer to 100th episode. So yay us.
Yeah,
I don't have anything
definitely
set
yeah,
up
us.
for that.
Yeah. Well, I admit, folks, we never. I know some of our shows are longer than others, but we never phone it in. So we always want to bring you guys the best content. Sometimes think what we want to bring, it doesn't work out. Um, Especially if we've got a lot going on. Like I'm basically in transit all over the place right now, and Sam's been working a lot.
Yeah,
Do
work's been
prioritize this
rough.
program, and right now, yeah, it's been rough, but but it's been rewarding when we come in and we see you guys, even if it's just one of you that's out there listening. Hey, we appreciate it. We never see you guys as tonight. Oh, you should be here or you have to be here, because you could be anywhere else. And that we appreciate that. We're not like some other YouTubers. We're not gonna charge you. We're not going to throw a yacht party on that's actually on a refurbished ferry and then charge you $3,500 to come on board and pretty much make a fool out of yourself trying to talk to the opposite sex.
Was that
those of you those of you who are in the know and have been on YouTube all week, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about.
was that a Mr. Beast reference?
No, you know what? Sidebar on that because I I I've seen videos
Yes.
pop up about Mr. Beast, but I don't know. I don't watch this and this. I have no clue what he did.
I do. I've been following some of this just because some people I follow do, and some people I know want to talk about this shit all the time. Um, so essentially, this all starts with, I mean, there have been accusations of like fraudulent dealings with him for a while, but nothing has ever like proven in anything. And he has obviously a very large following of loyal people. But so one of his employees, Chris Tyson, goes by Ava now, claims he's a chick, has been accused with what looks like real good evidence of doing some unsavory things message wise with underage people, and it kind of all blew
Oh
up,
boy.
and it's been blowing up for about a month straight. And this also led into people looking into Mr. Beast. Did he know? Did he not know? Did former employees know? Did they not know? I guess Jake the Viking is now under fire over it. And as people were looking into Mr. Beast, they found out that, yeah, he was in a Discord where Chris Tyson was talking about his wang size with underage people present. And he did know something, you know. The extent of that, I'm not sure about. There's a lot of allegations, and I don't know how many of them actually have like evidence and how many of them are factual or not, because there's a lot of shit flying around. But in relation to that, people started looking closer at Mr. Beast's dealings, and there are a lot of people coming out talking about all these like reality show things he's done. He's got a deal with Amazon right now where he's doing kind of a Squid Games kind of thing. Apparently, it's really like Squid
Mm.
Games because they've been, absolutely horrendous to their participants. Uh, and a lot of stuff's coming out like, when you lose on one of his games, he's like, but don't worry, you're still getting $1,000. They send him a check for $1,000 short, but they do it like a month later. And apparently they've had people who weren't allowed proper bathroom breaks, who were not allowed to groom themselves, like shower and shave and that kind of thing. People who were denied their medication because the producers fucking lost their medication, you know. this kind of thing. And again, a lot of this is alleged. I don't know how factual it is. I just know that there's a lot of stuff flying around out there, and it kind of looks like Mr. Beast's philanthropy isn't really philanthropy at all, which is kind of par for the course for philanthropy in general, in my opinion. But yeah, there's the whole thing is this gigantic rabbit hole. It's crazy how much shit is out there, and there's a lot of people talking about it right now. So yeah.
So the more they're digging, the more they're finding.
Yeah. Yes, they are. And because Mr. Beast has he's got like a 300 million subscriber channel, right? He's one of the largest YouTubers on the platform, and he's being protected on a certain level by people who make money off of him, including YouTube and Amazon.
Of course.
So yeah, it is what it is. I don't know.
You probably do it too.
There were allegations of trying to get minors involved with online gambling. There were allegations of fraudulent products that were sold with his name on them. There's a lot of shit there, and it's a mess. I haven't been talking about it too much myself because everybody and their dog is talking about it in certain spheres of YouTube, people who are much bigger than I am. And honestly, I think that Mr. Beast shit, aside from the pedo crap, really doesn't matter in comparison to a lot of other things that are going on in the world right now. So I haven't really been focusing on that. But yeah, it's out there if you want to look. Hey, Richard. So yeah. Anyhow, and this is just bare bones, just what I could pull off the top of my head because I haven't memorized any of this stuff. I don't have receipts or anything. There are other people out there who say they do. So that's why I kept saying alleged, because I can't personally prove any of this stuff. So, hey, Vor, you made a show. Good to see you. Good to see you. So if that answers your question to some degree, Larry. Uh-oh, folks, I think we might have lost Larry's audio again. Don't worry, we'll get something figured out here. It's you know what? It's not a Samuel stream if there aren't horrendous technical difficulties. It's kind of come to that lately. Hey, Vor, appreciate it. That's awesome. Fisted early, fisted often. Yeah, get that whole arm in there. Get that up to the second knuckle or the elbow or whatever. Y'all are familiar with Tool at all? Oh, there goes Larry. I think he's resetting. But they have a song. The first track on their album, Anima, is called Stink Fist, and it talks about this. Up to the knuckles, up to the wrist, up to the elbow, up to the shoulder, and it's a pretty horrifying song actually. It's not talking about like physical fisting. I don't think. I think it's more of a metaphorical, psychic kind of, thing. Sort of an enema, if you will, like psychic enema. But still, it's the phrasing is kind of disturbing in that song. So yes, for it is. It's about desensitization. A lot of that album is strangely. It's about desensitization, and it's about becoming. Being less the base thing that you were, and shedding your skin and becoming something more. So that, Andy, is specifically, I think, the song Enema, which is really more about the fact that band hates LA, and they're very, very vocal about it. But yes. Sort of a personal apocalypse, I guess you could say, because lest we forget, an apocalypse is just an old Greek word that means revelation, right? And that's why we call it the Book of Revelation, because it's the apocalypse of St. John the Apostle, and all that really means is that something occurs which changes your perception of reality forever, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to mean an end of the world, but yeah, it's a good album though. Despite the fact that the lead singer is kind of a dickbag. Tool, Richard L. Tool.
Sam, where's your
So,
avatar? There it is.
yep. So,
This is
okay,
getting
are we good?
ridiculous.
And now you know how I feel most of the time.
Man, my internet was where it just everything just froze. Excuse me. Everything froze. And then it said my internet was still working. I had to leave and come all the way back in. This is just crazy. I had to
Yep.
refresh like 3 times. I don't know what the hell's going on. So I'm I guess to make a long story short, Mr. Beast is screwed, and not the we wants. And probably everybody with him. Something like
It
this, you
looks
can
that
only
way.
protect somebody from.
It looks that way, yes.
It looks that way. But people are going to try to protect him. People are going to try to protect him, but it's going to work.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
let's get
he's
this
gonna
party
be
started
fine.
before anything else happens.
Okay. No, Suka. Larry's got his own shitter net.
Did you hear anything I said?
Yeah, let's get this party started.
Did you hear anything I said?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I heard all of it. I don't know
So
if you
didn't
heard
hear what I
me.
said. Okay. Here's the first one. All right. Can you see this?
It's a white screen on my side.
Do you see the article I put up?
Not yet. There it
See
is.
it now?
Okay. Yes, I don't know if there's another delay again because I've said yes like twice.
Yeah, you want me to go out and come back in?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's definitely a delay.
Okay. Yeah, it might be a good idea to reset again.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. It's hey, Aaron, Laura, good to see you. He is feeling better. I know the cough still sounds kind of bad, but it actually is getting better. So, he's doing well. And aside from the cough, I think actually he's feeling pretty healthy. So I know he'll appreciate you asking. And yeah, so yes, we have 2 shitter nets, Clue. But Larry's is his own. I have my own. He can't have mine. So we're not even in the same part of the country, for crying out loud. Okay. Here we are.
Okay, good.
I hope.
All right. Now, this first article that I found, I think you're gonna that's not the one I'm trying to bring up. There we go. I think you'll like this one. So this one, so apparently this guy was driving and he wasn't driving fast enough for the person in the red SUV, some lady. And I'll let the video show you, Sam. Since you know we know how much you like videos. If it loads up. Hey, Aaron.
She asked how you were
Okay,
doing,
so I
by the
guess
way.
this is gonna be one of these days.
Yeah.
I'd be doing better. I've been better. How to drain lymph fluid from the ankles and the legs. I'm not.
That's an ad.
I'm not trying anything that's a suggestion. Yeah, it's definitely an ad. Like, that's not even a real person. That's a AI representation. I mean, if your ankles look.
My father-in-law actually looks like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he retains fluid. Like they had to drain out something like 50 pounds of water out of him a couple years ago
Oh, wow.
he was experiencing hydroplasma or toxicity.
Wow. Okay. Hey, correct
He's
you.
also pushing
But
90.
yeah, that'll do it. But yeah, here's your video. Watch what happens, folks. I turned off the sound because they're playing. I'm sure right. So here she goes, flying down the highway. Now the other guy's not going fast enough. She decides to try to go around him.
It's a little choppy.
The other car keeps going.
Yeah, I missed what happened there. It was kind of frozen, then it jumped to the next
Oh, did it?
bit. Yeah.
All right, let's play it again. Is it
Did she
still
tag
frozen to
him?
you? No, no, she didn't tag him.
It's pretty choppy.
You see what's getting ready to happen?
It looks like she's about to flip.
And she did.
Ah. Well, don't be impatient on the highway.
Yeah, right. So, so basically, it was a female driver whose identity has not been confirmed was seen trying to overtake an SUV on the road in a video shared on TikTok. She was in such a hurry that she drove off the highway into a grassy shoulder to try to get ahead, losing control of the vehicle, and then flipped upside down. Ariel, what's going on? The woman was hospitalized after the incident. She's lucky to be alive after pulling what she pulled.
Yeah. Yeah, she
look at
is.
it.
That's oh, hey, we got somebody in the back here who has power, by the way. There he is. Hey, Devil.
The cause of all its nice mishaps.
Sorry.
You ain't sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm just having a little fun with the internet, Larry. It's okay. So
Yeah,
so Devil,
Larry's got the shitter net tonight.
yeah.
Oh, he's the one with the bad internet.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's because of where I am, and I think the signal was my laptop was just trying to find a signal, but now I'm getting full bars. So I guess it found the angle that it was looking for, which is great. I'm glad. So we can put this behind us. But what you're looking at, Devil, is the result of a woman who decided that she wasn't going to be patient. She went into another lane, and there was another guy in the other lane. So then she decided to go into the shoulder, which gas him up, and she flipped.
You were cutting out, but I think I've seen the video. So yeah, like
I mean, the first
Yeah, it wasn't good.
yeah, you kind of real bad.
Hello.
There you go. Yeah, you were cutting out real bad. Like towards the end, you just couldn't hear anything.
I think we might have an interesting show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Like it's unusual circumstances, but we gotta maintain the schedule. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it's I'm getting full bars. I'm getting full bars on my internet.
I heard about. I think the whole middle bit of that, getting no bars on your internet or full bars. Did he say full or no?
I think full. I think I heard
Okay.
full bars on the internet.
Okay, well that's good. So, but yeah, this kind of thing's not a good idea. You should never ever drive angry. You should never be impatient, even if other people are being like not good. So, oh shit, I think he's resetting. So anyhow, he'll be back. So a few years ago, I was in a car with a couple of buddies of mine, and we may or may not have been speeding in more than one way on an interstate, a busy interstate. And there was this woman who was tailgating us, right?
Mm.
Just riding up on her ass. We're already doing 92, right? And she was just riding right up on her ass. So obviously, in speeds like that, which you shouldn't be doing when it's posted at 75 in the first place, but it speeds
Public
like
service
that.
message.
Yeah. You want at least one car length per 10 miles an hour between you, right? So she'd want to be at least 10 cars back in order to be able to stop if we had to stop suddenly, right? Because that's just the way that inertia and all of that shit works. So my buddy who was driving, and we had another buddy in the back who was freaking out over stuff. So my buddy who was driving ends up, he just tapped on the brake, not enough to slow us down, but just enough to bring the brake lights up.
Mhm.
And the next thing we know, she is spinning out. She's going into the median. She's up on the other side of the interstate. She's back in the median. Pieces are flying off her fucking car. Really surprised she didn't flip.
Yeah.
Eventually, she came to a stop in the grass between north and south lanes. But yeah, it was one of those things. I was like, shit, did we just kill somebody? We didn't. As it turns out, she's fine. But meanwhile, our buddy in the back was freaking out. He's like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And I was just like, "Just calm down, dude. She's fine. She's scared, but she's fine. She shouldn't have been tailgating at 90 fucking miles an hour in the first place." So, I was much younger then, for the record, full of vim and vigor and doing stupid shit. So, how's it sound now, Larry?
Okay.
Well, indeed. I don't know if
For now,
Larry,
I'm
if you
fine.
wanna,
I can see it.
Did he cut out again?
yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm pushing on to the next article.
Okay. All right. Yes, he purposely did that, Ariel. I was in the passenger seat. I was not actually driving, but I wasn't in the kind of frame of mind where I really opposed to what he did. So, yeah, it is what it is. Nobody died. No.
Yeah.
Damn it. So we will carry on as best we can. Larry, like I said, he did have a couple articles he wanted to go over. I don't know how well this is going to work out. He may end up needing to send them to me unless he's getting set up in a better location, in which case, cool, go for it. We can just discuss. So I don't want to get into the actual meat of the discussion because Larry definitely wants to be here for that. This is kind of his baby. But I do kind of want to talk about the Phantasm movies a little bit because I was going to watch a bunch of them and I couldn't finish the first one. It's really, really boring.
Yeah, like I said, from what I remember, it's been a long time, so don't act. I'm not. Don't take my word of what I remember as like key, because that's bad. But what I remember is he's from either another dimension, I believe, and he's changing people into like his servants from that world.
Yeah.
Something like
yeah, kind of.
yeah.
Yes. I ended up pulling up the villain wiki from the fandom website for this just to like bone up on the character because there are like 7 of those movies and I couldn't make it all the way through the first one without falling asleep.
Yeah.
I tried like 3 times this week. It didn't work. I will get through them at some point, but for the purposes of tonight's like verses, it's not really helpful. Candyman, I'm good on. I know all the fucking lore about Candyman, but the
well, which one? The new lore where it's racism, or
no? That
well, I mean, the old
happen.
one was lore was racism too. They killed him for I think what Was it him like talking to a white woman or some shit?
Yeah. It's it wasn't him talking to a white woman. It was him making time with a white woman who had fallen in love with him,
Mm.
and all that. But yeah, I mean, like the racism angle is part and parcel with the story, always has been, but it's really not what the story's about, kind of thing. When they made that other one that I'm just going to pretend didn't happen, they just
It was
leaned
front
really
and
hard
center.
into. Yeah, they just
Yeah.
leaned really hard into the racism angle, and they didn't explore any of the stuff that actually mattered about that character, about immortality through being an urban legend, about the fact that he's way past taking his revenge, and now he's doing stuff because he's a literal monster in the mirror.
Yo, Paul.
So hey, Paul, good to see you, man. So I know I'm good on my Candyman lore. I've even read the short story that it was all based on a while
Shit, I didn't
back.
even know it's based on a short story.
Yeah, it's a Clive Barker thing, same as Hellraiser.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Joe Cool. Good to see you. Currently, we're talking about Candyman and Phantasm. Both kind of back and forth. But yeah, it's a short story called The Forbidden, which is the first movie is not like 1-to-1, but it's pretty close to what's in that story. And yeah, it was I think it was in the Books of Blood volume 3, but I could be mistaken. It might have been in the Inhuman Condition. He wrote a bunch of short story collections early on in his career that were pretty much straight up horror, and then later on he gets into like surrealist fantasy shit with some of his later novels. But yeah, it's I'm good on that lore. The Phantasm stuff, on the other hand, not so much. I know a little bit from like stuff you glean just being around people who are into pop culture, but I could swear I've seen him, man. But it's been like 3 decades at least.
I've seen the first two for sure. After that, I think I've seen like parts of it because it's hard to get through them, especially the later they get into them. I just remember the last one. I think it was a friend who brought it over, and it's like the brother from the first one or friend from the first one. I can't remember his name. He essentially is like the hero of it or something. It was like
Reggie,
I said, I saw maybe 20 minutes of it, if even. But I did watch the first two, and like I said, it was always like out of the 80s horror movie. Oh, we got.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was ready to come up yet or not.
Oh,
so both of you guys have power, so you can come and go as you want.
Oh
yeah, I wasn't ready to be on or back on the.
Get the hell out of here!
Look, you black mother. Wait a minute. Okay. So here's what I ended up having to do. So I came back inside, and now I think everything is okay. So I'm looking at.
Sounds a lot better.
Well, I'm looking at a tiny dot on StreamYard. So I mean, I'm getting full bars from the internet that I'm using, which I was getting outside. It's just StreamYard is being a what.
Oh God, I hate StreamYard.
Now, my friend is playing Diablo 4, so I don't know if that's what's pulling from it too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you probably are. Right, you probably are fighting a little bit for bandwidth, and StreamYard takes up a ton of fucking bandwidth. But
exactly.
But the closer you are to the router, the better the signal's going to get.
Okay. Well, I think hopefully this should work.
It sounds a lot better.
Yeah, you sound a lot better.
Yeah. So here's what I was going to show you guys. Now I'm sure you were in the middle of a conversation. Let's go ahead and finish that because I have no idea what you guys were talking about. Because not only did I have to basically shut down everything, but I went to open up the door, and the street that I'm on is very quiet. It's in a small village, and my alarm goes off. My car alarm goes off, and pretty much scares half the neighborhood. People are coming outside because they're thinking somebody had broken in my car. So I'm looking at it. So I'm you could hear the boop, 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 open up my car door. I'm like, damn. and I look up and I just see heads popping up. You know, and all I'm thinking to
Wow.
myself is, there's not a lot of lighting on the street, so I'm thinking somebody's got a gun. I know me.
Possibly. Hi, Nomi.
Hi. Sorry for the burp.
So for those of you who don't who have probably been living under a rock and therefore don't know about Dames and Dorks, Nomi and her crew were talking about Aliens Romulus, which I still haven't seen.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Come again?
In my ears this time?
Oh, we hear you now.
Oh,
Yeah.
me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cut out
Oh.
for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, what I was saying is that I'll never see Romulus, so you're not gonna
Why
get.
not?
I just never liked Alien.
That's fair.
Yeah, never liked it. Even like as an adult, because it came out when I was a kid, and when I was an adult, like mature enough, like I can watch scary movies now. Still don't like it.
So you'll never see Romulus.
No, I will not see Romulus.
Okay. So I take it that you don't like Romulans either.
I don't like what either. What?
Romulans.
No.
I'm just saying. People usually most people that don't like Romulans, they usually like Vulcans. So that's why I'm trying to find out where you fall. Are you pro? Well, I guess you have to be pro Vulcan because you said you're never going to see the Romulus. So that means you don't like Romulans.
I'm just into like straight white guys. Oh yeah.
Well,
I know
Romulans are light
aliens.
I know you're trying to make a Star Trek reference here, but yeah, I'm not into Vulcans. I'm just into regular old human being species.
But Romulans are light skinned. I mean, they're light enough.
I don't
No,
want to.
there's actually black Romulans.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were wearing blackface.
I don't know about Romulans, but they're black Vulcans.
There in Next Generation, you see a black Romulan. So there
I might have
it's
to look for
canon.
that.
Whoa, Black Betty Ramulan.
Romulan.
Anywho, I don't know. I might
Yeah.
check that. I've been hearing mixed reviews about it myself, so I don't know. But to be fair, the last several Aliens movies have been shit.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, I haven't liked them.
I personally I agree with what Nomi and crew were saying the other day. It was a while before I figured out Prometheus was an alien movie. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was in it for like I went to go see it as like, oh, it's just gonna be a sci-fi adventure movie, and then me watching it, I'm a good hour in this film. Was like, what the heck is even this movie? Like, I'm not understanding nothing, and then towards like the very end, I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking Alien.
So I got that beat. I didn't see Prometheus until a couple of years after I saw Alien Covenant, which is a direct sequel to Prometheus that doesn't make any sense if you haven't seen Prometheus.
Yes, which makes my sense, and proves my point. It doesn't make sense until you watch the first one or the Prometheus.
Well, I'll be honest. I watched Prometheus, and I must not have watched it close enough because Covenant still didn't make too much sense to me. Maybe I just wanted to forget about it.
So Prometheus was supposed to be the big return of Ridley Scott to the Alien franchise. He did the first movie. The first movie's his baby. Between him and an artist named H.R. Giger, they essentially created that the xenomorph, the alien itself. and all of the lore from that first movie, but he didn't really have anything to do with the rest of the sequels. And this was supposed to be his big return. The problem with Ridley Scott is that he's really hit or miss. You know, like some of his movies, like Alien, Blade Runner, Gladiator, these are all great fucking movies. But then you get Prometheus. You know, so
well, look. I mean, every director every good director can point to a dud. You know, but in this case, yeah, I'd have to say, old Ridley, he knows better. You know, and to have it go an hour into a movie before you find out what it really is, yeah. Now, if we're gonna do a size conversation of directors, that's fine with me.
BTK.
You know, Naomi, I'd love to get yours and Devil's ideas on directors that either you love or you hate. The one that really, the one that really just, I watched. It was one movie, and I was like, I'll never watch another thing he directs, and that was M. Night Shyamalan when he did The Village.
Oh yeah.
Because
I don't have a problem with him. He did a good job in Signs. I liked it in Signs. Like he did a good job.
Shit.
In Signs. What?
So I had a conversation with Gal on Sunday about these exact two fucking movies of Shyamalan's, and I think I'm in the minority because I like The Village and I fucking hated Signs.
Really, Devil, where do you stand on this?
I don't like any of this stuff really.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll never forgive him for what he did to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
yeah, he destroyed that.
Yeah.
That was him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the movie was not the Netflix thing.
But who in their right mind would let him touch that franchise?
He was on the top of his game at that point.
Yeah, well, no, he had already started going. He had already started going downhill. Like the top of his game is freaking Sixth Sense. I mean, everyone kind of unanimously says that's probably his best movie. Then after that, it was every single movie subsequently after that just went down in quality story-wise, but also like just viewership. From Lady in the Water, Signs, all the way down to Avatar. And Avatar was just such a big flop with how much it cost for them to get the rights to it and stuff that kind of tanked his career, because they're all like, okay, you've had fail after fail, and then you just failed on something that cost that much money. So that kind of is what took him out of him being the golden boy. But after he did Sixth Sense, his star was still high at that point because it cost practically nothing and it made a shit ton of money, I think. So
well, yeah, and I'll agree with you on the viewership, but again, I find myself in the minority because I actually think that Unbreakable is his best movie.
I would say I like if that or The Sixth Sense would be the only two I'd watch probably again. That's to say.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked a number of his movies. I didn't like all of them, and I haven't even seen some of them. Like I never watched The Happening because that is the dumbest goddamn name for a film that I've ever seen in my life. It's so generic. But I liked Lady in the Water. A lot of people hated it because there wasn't a twist. It's just a straightforward modern fairy tale, you know. But as a movie, I thought it was really good. I liked The Village. I even liked the twist in The Village. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that. Unbreakable is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love The Sixth Sense. I really liked Split quite a bit.
I have to admit, I like
shit. Yeah, Glass was not good. The Last Airbender was one of the worst things ever committed to film. You know, I mean, even if you could excuse all of the other changes that he made to it, like who thought it was a good idea to fit an entire 25 episode season of television into 2 hours? Right? Right. Like that can't be done. But
I mean, he could have gotten a trilogy out of that at least.
Well, that was the plan. He was supposed to do a movie for each season. But the first one bombed so badly that they never went back to him.
But you know, I like I said, I agree with Double, and that's the studio's fault for letting him of all people to do it.
Hey, Jacob.
Now, maybe they, maybe in their defense,
I smoke.
maybe they couldn't afford somebody like Spielberg or somebody else. I mean, but M. Night Shyamalan, golly,
Yeah,
for
when his movies are
Avatar.
terrible, they're really bad. But you know, but God, I hated Signs so much. I hate that movie.
What is it
It's
about
so,
that you don't like?
aside from the fact that it's boring and the plot makes no fucking sense.
Like the girl's like psychic, but with no reason. Like she knows not to drink the water. It's like they never explain that. Why doesn't she like the water? Because she knows the aliens are coming. Is that what we're like? It doesn't tell you.
I hear there's a theory that they're not aliens, but they're in fact demons, and that the water that she places all around the house is holy water. But I'm like, where the fuck did she get all this holy water? Because her dad was a preacher, sure, but he lost his damn faith and he doesn't really regain it.
Yeah,
You know?
it's
So
yeah, very weird.
and it wasn't scary at all. I was hoping it would be scary, but there was one effective jump scare in the entire fucking movie, and it lasts for a second. And that
And you
was
know what?
the bit where they're next to the coal chute, and then the alien's arm moves. It looks like part of the coal chute, and then it doesn't all of a sudden. That was cool, but otherwise, yeah, I hated the rest of that fucking movie.
Well, you know
And I
what?
never hate Mel Gibson movies, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, you know what though? that's what I don't like about The Village. Number one is the
did it have Mel Gibson?
advertisement. The advertisement, the trailers misrepresented what that movie was about. That was number one. But like out of that entire movie with all the allusions to scares and stuff like that, it probably had one genuinely scary moment, and it was right pretty much at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I liked it as a general movie. I thought it was well acted. I could see where a group of people who want to get away from the world would not tell the generations that come after that there is in fact a wider world out there, because they didn't want it corrupting them. The Amish do the same thing in real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the movie, the trailers were very misleading because it gave you the impression this was actually taking place back in like the early 1800s, whereas obviously the twist. And by the way, for those out there who are worried about spoilers, this movie's been out for a couple of decades now.
Yeah, get over
Yeah.
it.
And trust me, we're doing you a favor by releasing spoilers.
Yeah.
The thing that's frustrating with me with that one, and here's the thing, I give M. Night Shyamalan credit because at least he did movies that were unique to themselves. They're not some carbon copy of the one you've seen 1,000 times. He tried to do unique stuff. He always tried to do unique stories. I just never think he executed 100%. In that case, in that one, it was so, like, literally, if you can see and you get lost in the woods, you're lost. But she can't see, but we'll let her off in the woods. She'll find some. She'll find a road. She'll find a road. Bear Grylls' ass fucking has a hard time finding roads when he's out in the woods. You telling me a blind girl walking through with a stick bumping every single twig and shit is gonna freaking? It just, I don't know.
I suppose it depends on how much time she spent in those woods growing up, because even a blind person who's absolutely familiar with their surroundings is going to find their way around better than somebody with sight, because people with sight rely solely on their sight.
But if you're really familiar with the woods around the village, that's fine. But the second you step outside that, the woods are there. There's branches sticking out of places.
Oh, yeah.
You walk right into one. Take your eye out of your head. I mean, just.
No, you're right.
It's just not practical.
It's not. It's not practical, and it's not believable. And that's what got. It's like Devil said. Of all people, you send that girl, and she'd been deep into the forest, but you send her all the way through the forest in an area that she has never been through. And as far as she knows, there's monsters in that. There's monsters in in that forest, and you
I
send her.
mean, it is kind of amazing that she didn't fucking die the second she stepped on a highway. Sure.
But here's another question though. Here's the thing. For those of you who don't know, sorry, it's a spoiler alert. The monsters aren't real. The monsters are the adults that are raising the next generation, all that, because they were scaring them into staying in that little village that they made. It would have made more sense for either the father to go with his daughter or the father to go by himself,
Oh,
because he already knows there's no monsters in that forest.
but beyond that, if you're gonna if you're gonna go to the trouble of setting up this village, putting all the effort into it, making it where planes can't fly over the top, setting up so that there's people who patrol the fence, but it's like a sanctuary. That takes a lot of work, a lot of going to lawyers and stuff to set up those kind of things. He didn't bother sitting there saying, you know what, I'm gonna set up a thing where once every couple months or something, a stash is left out in the woods, and I'll go out there with the yellow color, whatever the color, I can't remember. What was it, yellow that was safe and red was the bad color? I think it
I
was.
think
I
so.
Anyway,
think so.
where I could go out there and get penicillin, because infections happen. Like I, it just makes no sense. Like they could have planned it better. I'd have planned it better. If your whole thing is trying to live in a world where murder doesn't happen and all that kind of stuff, okay, completely understand, great, but plan better. I don't know.
I'll give you that. The village elders should have planned everything better. They did fail their progeny pretty horrendously, and I think that was kind of one of the things that was important, actually, that they did fail, because it was the only way that the younger people would understand where they came from. Because they were raised in seclusion. They were raised as though it was 1830. So like the first time somebody runs into, I've been rewatching Angel, and there's a bit where everybody forgets, like, they all cast a magic spell and everybody regresses to like how they were in their late teens. Well, in Angel's case, he's 252 years old at this point. And so when he turns into a teen, he still thinks it's like 17 something. Right.
Right.
And he goes outside in the hotel, and there's traffic all over the place in downtown LA. And he runs back into the hotel screaming about all the demons out there. And he doesn't think that they saw him.
Well, Angel has some interesting storylines, especially like the one of him being turned into a doll.
That was later on. Yeah. That's in season 5. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get it. Can you imagine? Let's say if this is real for a second. Can you imagine that girl walking onto a street, and she hears Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice, and somebody's flying by, and you just hear that car. I mean, you just hear that song.
Mm-hmm. Or anything, really. I mean, like something by 2 Live Crew or Salt and Pepper.
No, screw that. If I walked out of the freaking forest and heard Taylor Swift, I'm turning around and going back.
Oh Lord.
It'd be like that. What was that horrible fucking Sandra Bullock movie that was on Netflix? This where they all had to like pretend to be blind so that
Birdcage or Bird something,
Bird Box or something. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't watch it, but apparently there's this thing out there that if you look at it, it makes you kill yourself just from seeing it. So everybody goes around with bandages over their eyes and not looking at anything. And that's kind of what that reminded me of. Is like if that had happened, right? Taylor Swift's song would be like taking the blindfold off in the Bird Box.
Yeah. I'm all like, I gotta save him. I gotta get the medicine. And as you hear, I don't even know any of her songs. Bad Blood. Be like, fuck him. I'm going home. I don't know what that is, but that's evil music right there.
No, you shut it, Smooth.
Yeah, I told you my wife was telling me about about what Instagram's been doing. So I don't know if you guys know this. One of our private chats, um, Instagram had me following Kamala Harris without my consent or knowledge. I completely found out by accident because
Yeah,
it
you mentioned
added
that.
some. Yeah, it brought something up and it was saying I was following her. I was like, what the hell? And I told my wife, and she was like, oh yeah, there's a whole thing about that. And she said there's a lot of people finding out that they're following Taylor Swift and they without their consent or knowledge either. There's like Instagram is just signing people. They're just signing people up on certain pages without telling them.
Yeah, it's sort of the same thing that YouTube does, where they just unsubscribe you from people that you follow, except in reverse. Yeah, Suka, that's actually exactly what it is. It's not even what it is to pump up the numbers of her followers
To
artificially,
make her look more,
like,
yes, to make her look more popular than she really is.
which is
That
stupid because that's what bots are for.
Yeah.
like it's very well possible they might have done it because I have an Instagram. The only reason I have an Instagram, and this is literally the only reason, is to get meme assets. When you're a memer, one of the hardest things is to find people's faces and the right face for the right meme. So I got Instagram solely to like cyber stalk certain people and take their pictures and use them for memes. So I very well might be signed up to a lot of people I don't know about at this point, since I haven't gone on for like a year and a half.
Yeah. Smooth, that's kind of the thing about American politics, right? It's not about the votes, it's about, like, later on they can say, but look, she was so popular, and show you the inflated numbers from things like her Instagram account and that sort of thing, and call it proof.
In the meantime, nobody with a brain is believing any of this stuff. She won't debate with anybody. She's refusing debates left and right. Now she's talking about she wants to debate in October when most people have already mailed in their ballots and stuff, and it probably doesn't matter at that point. So I scratch my head at the people who are actually trying to make us believe that this woman is popular, much less would be a good president.
Yeah.
Don't put that out there, Smooth. She might take it as a challenge.
Yeah, she might.
I don't want them lips wrapped around me.
Heck
That's
no.
not good.
End up with monkeypox.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next challenge on the pub. Is instead of a eating competition with Dermy, we're gonna get Kamala Harris on and him. See how many men they can take through the drug.
Oh,
Oh my
boy.
god, that monkeypox thing rings so true because Kamala Harris sucks ass.
Oh, sorry, we have
anyhow.
Anyhow, so this article in particular. So I guess this guy, Yogi, shows up at their picnic area, and homeboy has a shovel.
Dude, that thing's huge. Oh, dude, if it goes for a drink.
Let it have whatever it wants.
Hey!
Looks like it wants to take a nap in that chair.
Is that a black bear or is that a
Get
grizzly?
out of that.
It's
That's a
brown.
black bear.
No, it's brown. You
Is
can
that a
see
brown
across
bear?
across the top of its back where the light is shining
yeah.
on it. You can see it's brown.
Dude,
Oh, I
took
see it
my
now, yeah.
cookie.
It took his cookie.
Let him have the fucking
I want my
cookies.
cookie
He can have wherever he wants.
It's like, man, I don't want no
Oh, give
water.
me my cookies.
Dude, really? That's a small brown bear, but
That's
yeah,
a small brown bear. Yeah.
probably not fully grown.
Goodness.
Just give it up, dude.
Oh my goodness.
It could still take you.
Bro is
Yeah.
fighting a bear.
He's not fighting him. He's just making noise.
Oh my gosh.
Did he smack his nose?
Yeah,
Dude just
I think he caught him just on the bridge of it.
the.
Yeah, you can do that with a brown bear. You can do that with a black bear. You can't do that with no grizzly.
Oh no. Grizzly will just sit up on his hind legs and say, "Oh yeah, okay."
Yeah.
But you know what? What I noticed. You notice how I realized when the drinks was water, it didn't want nothing to do with it. But if that was a beer, it would have drank it.
Yeah, we've got grizzlies here in California. We've got a lot of bears. Plenty of 'em.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shoot, it's on the state's flag.
Yeah. You like
Well-
people are worried about hitting deers driving home and stuff. Think about hitting a bear. I've seen a person hit a bear. Damn bear didn't even flinch. It was even worse than a deer. Deer will jump right up and run off. They die later. But adrenaline keeps them going. Bears will literally you hit them and they just get off the car slowly and then are pissed as shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's when you hit the gas and you get the hell up out of there.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, both grizzlies and Kodiaks are brown bears, but they're kind of subspecies.
Kodiaks, yeah. They're essentially
Yeah.
pretty close to grizzlies. They're just bigger.
Right, but I mean they're both brown bears, but then you've also got your brown bears like the one we just saw. They are also brown bears, but they're not grizzlies.
Yeah, they're just different species, same coloring and stuff. But yeah, it's I think those size brown bears are probably more closely related to black bears, in the like structure, how their body's structured. But yeah, they're still not near as big as grizzlies. You see a grizzly, you know it's a grizzly. It's about double that size, easy. A small
And
one.
when they stand up, they're much bigger than you are. I mean, your average grizzly has 4 to 6 inch claws.
Easy.
Yeah. You know, and they can take your head off with one swipe. I've seen these fuckers peel open steel dumpsters to get at the food inside.
Yeah,
just pull the side right off of it.
Yep. That's the thing. If they want in your house, they'll get in your house. A grizzly wants in some place, he's getting in. Yeah, that's why you got to have a gun up here, because if they decide to come into town, chances are they'll go for trash cans first, just because they're going to go for the easiest thing. And you know, it smells like food, shitty food, but food. But yeah, if you know, they want in your house, they'll break a door down. They'll rip it right off its hinges. Easy.
You got to keep in mind when you're out camping and stuff like that. Yes, bears can be dangerous to people. People are not their first choice, but it's not to say that they would never, under any circumstances, eat them. Bears are omnivores like we are. They'll eat pretty much anything that smells like food.
Yeah, and if you get a bear that has had a taste of human flesh and doesn't mind it, now you've got a situation. You guys remember that? And I'm sure Nomi probably hasn't seen it, because I don't even think it was in the theaters. The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Adam Baldwin.
Long time ago.
Where they were getting chased. It's an outstanding movie. They were getting chased by this killer bear. The bear had killed a human sometime in the past, and it got to the point that that's all it would eat was humans. That was it. It was like that made it to the top of his dinner plate, and that thing stalked them because they got stranded in the woods, right? Because I think their helicopter went down or something, and Anthony Hopkins' character is Rich. He's a publisher, and Adam Baldwin, I think, is like a friend of the family or something like that. And it was his wife's idea to go out in the woods, and he didn't know that Adam Baldwin's character was sleeping with his wife, and the purpose of him going was he was supposed to murder Anthony Hopkins' character. What he didn't count on was the bear.
Yeah. BTK, I think we covered this actually in an episode a few weeks back, but yeah, a moose will kill bears.
Oh yeah, the mooses are aggressive as hell. They can kill a bear. Their antlers will rip something open just like anything. So yeah, if they get them in the right place, they can rip a bear open. We have there's this place around here. I can't say the name of the restaurant, but they're like a local. They have this big farm, and so they use the restaurant to serve the meat from the cattle and stuff. And they have heads mounted all over the walls, and they have a moose. The damn thing is massive. Like I can't even like think of something I could compare it to make you see, like, visualize how big the freaking head of this thing is. It's massive.
It's as big as Jeremy.
Yeah, there you go. It's big as Jeremy's ass.
Bigger actually. They dwarf Dermy.
That reminds me. So, so I had some issues I had to take care of, and I didn't get to last week. I didn't get to see Bells of Pub episode last week, so I don't even know who won the donut challenge.
No,
Oh, it was Nomi.
She beat his ass.
What?
I kicked his ass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of
could-
brutal.
Yeah, they were kind of going donut for a while, but then Shock had to start pissing Nomi off, so she's all like, "Fine," and started eating 2 at a time. And then after that, he was done. He knew he wasn't going to catch up.
I was
Yeah.
done listing it because Shock was just only motivating me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah, well,
donuts how many donuts did you eat, Nomi?
60.
60.
What?
I had 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel the next day?
I wanted to die. I had to fucking take a laxative.
I was talking to the guys at the restaurant about that. I was sitting there going, man, I'm a big guy, always have been. I can't eat, like, even though I'm a big guy, I can't put it away like in massive amounts. I probably got through maybe 20 and I'd have been like, I'm done. So when you guys kept going, but I called it at the beginning. I said, you guys got those 10 bags. I said, I don't think you guys will get through any more than 4. And she got through 4 and Dermy couldn't even hit 4. So I called it on how much, but
were they just regular donuts or were they like powdered donuts?
They're
the mini powdered.
Oh Lord, Nomi, what? Whew.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have wanted.
laxative.
Good Lord, girl.
Like eating clay with sugar on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
basically what it was. What it felt like.
I know you were hurting the next day, boy. I know you were hurting.
Oh, I couldn't breathe the next day. Okay, so like not only that, sorry if I'm yawning, but okay,
No
so
worries.
not only that, when we were on
Okay,
Abyssal
Lieutenant.
Pub, I was like, all right, now let's just talk about the topics that the devil has. We could talk about it. Freaking Dermy falls asleep on stream, and he's like,
I think he died. I think he died for a second. I don't think they was
Heart
sleep. I think he
stopped.
was dead.
You put him in a food coma.
well, because before he fell asleep, like fully falling asleep, I knew I was gonna crash. I was like, I'm gonna leave with dignity and go to bed, brush my teeth and go to bed. And that's what I did. And then the next morning I got a message from Smooth. He's like, so Dermy died. And I was like, what? He's like, no, he just fell asleep and they had to kick him off the stream. I was like, oh, okay.
I was talking about that during the stream we're doing it, and I started asking Smooth because he's a nurse, so I figured, closest thing to, doctor we got, how much sugar can people take in before they can die? Because like I said, we actually in California had a woman who died from drinking too much water in a competition. Your body
I
can
remember that.
Yeah, your body can only process so much water, and if you don't let it out, it becomes toxic. Most things do. Pretty much anything can become toxic if you overload your system with it. And so I'm all like, I don't want to have that happen. I don't want one of my friends to like go into some sugar, toxification and are sitting there convulsing on the ground and nothing we can do. So I was all like, are they going to be okay, Smooth? Like, I'm not killing my friends here, right, for doing this. But they both made it. They're both still alive.
Yeah, it was okay. We got Smooth the DJ. He's a doctor in real life.
Hey, Dr. Smooth.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It did hurt. But I still have bragging rights. Dermy can't win, and that's okay. And I am okay with that he can't win.
Well, you know what makes me feel good about it? Of course, I mean, I'm glad that both of you are alive. It's the fact that Dermy fell asleep on the program because
I don't think he had a choice. I think he actually shut down physically.
I shut down physically too, but I was able to hear some of the conversations while I was snoring on air, such as, "For the love of God, Devil, will you please let the guy drop the guy down so he won't embarrass himself anymore?" And I hear Devil, "Why would I do that?" He's like, yeah, you're forgetting who you're talking to. But yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm out cold. I'm thinking, wake up, damn it, wake up. And I can hear myself snoring. So if I was that loud, I can only imagine how bad it was with Dermy. And that makes me feel so good.
The funny thing
Yeah.
is we're already in talks for Dermy to do another eating competition. Like, to be honest, second after it was done, Professor Savage Dad's like, I want a shot at him. I want a shot at him.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, have at it, Prof. I'll allow it.
Of course he does. While we're on the subject of Beelzebub, do you plan on doing another quiz? Another trivia?
Yeah, we're supposed to get back on our normal schedule, which is once every month and a half we do a special episode. So the donut one kind of fit that. Next after that is we are going to do some sort of episode with AI with Grant that he's going to be in charge. Then after that, I have to figure out something to do with Shock, but yeah, we eventually are going to get back to the trivia night. That is Samuel's. He controls that. That's his baby. I also got to give Gal another ladies' night. We haven't done a ladies' night in what, 7 months?
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
longer.
I think it was in February. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna do another ladies' night. So there's a lot of different stuff coming up on the pub. But yeah, there's going to be another trivia night.
I think Paul's got another music episode before like a musical thing before I get another shot. So
I gotta check out like the cycle.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, moving on to the main event, because I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, folks. By the way, a little bit later, Beelzebub will be on. Stop over, support Devil, support Sam. And of course, don't forget about Dames and Dorks. Support Naomi and her crew. They're doing great things over there. And I mean, it's definitely great content. I noticed I really don't even watch most of TV anymore. I'm pretty much watching you guys. So when I'm not streaming myself. But but tonight's Monsters Ball match, for those of you who don't know, it is Candyman versus the Tall Man from Phantasm. So I don't know much about Candyman at all. I know Sam does. Devil, I mean, you're the author of Evil, so you probably already know about him too. I know more about the Tall Man, but from what I've been able to see, I'm not sure about this battle. I'm not. So Sam, let me do this. Can you explain to everybody the history of Candyman?
I can do a loose bit. We did discuss the movies a little bit earlier, Devil and I, while you were out, but we didn't really get into like the vital statistics yet or anything like that. But
okay.
So essentially, the Candyman when he was alive was like pre slavery was still a thing. It was, I think, shortly after the American Revolution, and he was a blacksmith. And he was, and an artist, but like his day job was as a blacksmith. He was a freed man, but prejudice is still high and all that shit. Anyway, he ends up falling in love with this white chick, and she falls in love with him, but they get found out, and her family is not cool with it. You know how this story ends. I mean, I don't know how it always ends.
Him being barbecued.
Instead of just lynching him like they normally would, right? They cut off his hand and jammed a meat hook into the stump, which is why he has that. And they, if I remember right, I could be missing some key details here, but they essentially like smeared him with honey, and he was stung to death by bees.
Yeah, I think he raised the bees. That's why they called him Candyman, was because he raised the bees in local honey and sold it and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So he dies of acute anaphylactic shock. And it's just it's really horrific. So, which is why later on when he like opens the long coat and shit, and his rib cage is all rotted out, because he's really kind of undead, but kind of not, because he's not exactly. He becomes a story that gets told over and over again down through the years, and that's how he ends up becoming this kind of immortal creature. As long as his story is remembered, he is immortal and powerful. But that's why he's got a fucking beehive in his chest. Is for that. And sometimes they come out through his mouth and his nose, and it's really fucked up. But and he will use the bees as a weapon. Mostly he just uses the hook, though. So flash forward to like 1990 in a place called Cabrini Green, which is a real tenement project in Chicago, by the way.
Well, they tore it down.
Yeah, but it was there. And it was
it was
awful.
Worst. Like you guys should do like a special on the history of Cabrini Green. It is crazy, that place. Like what happened to it. Like intense.
Well, I'm all ears.
Shit happened. I don't know a lot about the history of the place itself, other than that a lot of really, really bad shit happened there. A lot of stuff involving gang violence, a lot of rapes, a lot of murders. There might have been some voodoo shit involving child sacrifice. Like it was a very strange, very awful place. And so when Chicago decided to raise it to the ground and turn it into a park, they did that because they were trying to bury the awful fucking legacy. And this was one of the earlier tenement projects, if I remember right, which were basically ghettos. Like old school ghettos. Like, we're going to put people in here and forget about them kind of shit and call it helping them. And it just,
you mean like Australia?
Australia was a prison. So no, but anyway, so this story is set there where people are extremely poor. They get no help from, the police when they need it. They don't have access to a lot of the services. There are no landlords to be found because nobody wants to come anywhere near this place. And so we meet this chick, played by Virginia Madsen, Michael Madsen's sister. And she is doing a paper on urban legends. And she starts hearing like rumors of a story coming from a place called Cabrini Green. So she goes to investigate, which is how she gets embroiled in the whole, Candyman thing. And she looks like his lover, who is the whole reason he got fucking murdered in the first place. So it becomes this like real twisted thing. And he's like, be my victim, like be my Valentine kind of thing. And, but essentially what it is because when people keep telling the story, and when people look into the mirror and they say his name 5 times and they really believe in him, it gives him the power to be real. Otherwise he's just a story. But yeah, as long as somebody's telling that story somewhere, he has real power, and he's indestructible. He can teleport.
It's along the same lines as Freddy Krueger. The idea that the fear is what gives him the ability to manifest.
Yeah, but in a much more tangible sense, he doesn't manifest in dreams. He manifests right behind you as you're looking into the mirror, and then he guts you inside a locked room.
Yeah. So don't say Candyman. What was it, like 5 times in the mirror or something like that?
3.
Don't do 3 times. Don't do it
5 times.
Oh, it's 5 times?
I thought it was
5 times in the story. I'm pretty sure it is because it's partially based on the old urban legend about Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought Bloody Mary you only have to say 3 times.
Yes.
It's just like Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is the same thing. But I just love how they put him in like a pimp freaking jacket.
Well, I mean, he's got to cover up a beehive. He's got a beehive in his chest, so a 3-button suit's not going to do it. You're gonna have honey dripping between the buttons and everything. So they had to put him in something.
I also like they died from like anaphylactic shock. Like, what a shitty way to go. Like, and I mean, it must have been the whole them cutting off his hand and it being, done to him because of the hatred and stuff because if dying from anaphylactic shocks makes you a supernatural being, and what about Thomas J from My Girl, little kid with
Right.
glasses.
I was just thinking about that.
Oh no, he's just a bruise and a dead one at that. That's an awful fucking
He needs his
movie.
glasses. He needs his glasses. Comes up with the hook. He's all fucking bitch. Trying to get your
Yeah.
necklace.
So, but yeah, so the Candyman is a thing, and what it comes down to, because Virginia's character, I can't remember the name of her character off the top of my head, but because her character is so embroiled in this urban legend thing, she also gets a lot of shit from the residents of Cabrini Green because, she's a white woman who's come down to poke into their affairs that they do not talk about, right? And she sees a lot of stuff involving graffiti art, which is involved in sort of promoting and maintaining these urban legends and these stories, and a lot of it does revolve around him. People won't say his name out loud, but they will like do representate. There's this one deal where she crawls through a hole in a wall, and on the other side of the wall, the hole is actually his mouth, and it's a giant mural of him like yawning, or like with a gaping maw. It's really fucking creepy. So, but yeah, it's a cool story. But she gets involved, and he wants her to join him as his most famous victim in the legend, right? To become like him. Right. That's why he keeps saying, be my victim, but he means it in a like, hey, come be with me in eternity, don't fear the Reaper kind of shit, except I'm going to murder you horribly first, because that has to happen, because that's what happened to me. And I don't know, should I spoil how that goes?
I mean, the whole jilted lover thing. I mean, you talk about an abusive boyfriend. I mean, golly. Hey, listen, I got to kill you, but I want you to be mine.
Yeah. It's like you have to die to, be with me in eternity kind of shit. It's kind of like standard old ghost story stuff. Like you hear those ghost stories about, like the little kid in the house who keeps seeing somebody that nobody else sees, and that other person's like, hey, I want you to join me, and tries to talk the kid into doing something fucking stupid so that they can be together, forever kind of shit. Except kind of turned up to 11 with a meat hook and a bloody stump.
Yeah. So let's get a look at this guy's power. So, like you say, I mean, he's already dead, so immortality, of course, is going to go with it. Of course, they got to put the 9 vulnerability, but as you said, I mean, he's pretty much invulnerable. Has anybody ever re-killed this guy?
No. He pretty much leaves when he wants to.
Okay. Superhuman speed. I don't see how hook wielding is a superpower, but I guess it is. High intelligence. Well, if you've been around for decades, yeah, you should be smart, reasonably. Regeneration.
Well, he was a bit of a Renaissance man in life too. Like he was an intelligent man before he died.
Okay. Well, it says he's super strong. He can manipulate bees. He can teleport. He can fly, levitate, which is almost the same thing. Invisibility, oneirokinesis, which this I forget what it is, but the tall man has this too. He has this ability too.
Freddy Krueger has it too. It's the ability to manipulate people in their dreams.
Yeah. Electrokinesis, ghostly powers, and high durability. What do you know about him, Devil?
I don't remember the first one. I might have seen it, but I did remember seeing the second one, which I believe is called like Farewell to the Flesh or something like that. And it's essentially his daughter. I guess not his daughter, but his ancestor from when he slept with the white woman. Where the white women at? And he's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to essentially I think use her blood, since it's his blood, as a way to either come back or something. But yeah, he always was like, out of the 80s horror movie kind of characters, he just wasn't on the same level as like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason. You know, those were kind of the heavy hitters, and then he was kind of B team.
Wait,
But
his movies are not this like theirs though. It's not straight slasher stuff. There's a certain
no,
kind of elegance to them.
but at the same time, neither was Freddy Krueger. He wasn't just a slasher. Not to mention, none of the slashers were slashers because now they've rewritten them to be essentially demons that are unkillable.
Yeah.
But that being said, it still was 80s horror, and they all kind of fit in that category of whatever it is, be it man or creature, slaughters people in some way or another. They all kind of fit the same thing. So yeah, he was always the B-lister and never kind of the headliner of the horror movies. But I believe I saw the first one. Like I said, I used to go to the video store and get like all the old movies. If you got like 5, you got them for 50 cents each. So me and my friends would like go and rent all these like 8, 9, 10-year-old movies at the video store for like $2.50, and that would be our weekend.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I saw the first one.
Okay, all right. Naomi, I'm assuming you don't know anything about Candyman.
I'm not. I don't have a professional knowledge of it, but I know of him.
Okay. Well, then you and I are in the same boat because Devil was right. I saw. Well, actually, Devil, you gave him more credit than me. I saw him as the D team. You know, I never had any interest when I was little. I never had any interest in watching his movies. It was all about Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy for me. Those were the 3 I could sit down and I could watch marathons of their movies.
Yeah. No, I got you there. I just like Clive Barker. This is one of his creations, along with Pinhead. There's a film called Nightbreed. Like I was telling you, I think backstage later, and his kind of horror, his kind of villainy, I guess, is not typical stuff. It tends to have an elegance to it that a lot of like, crowd pleasing slasher films don't have. There tends to be a sort of a cerebral element that you don't really get with, like, say, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, right? That movie is retarded. It's one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. I still enjoy watching it, but it does not have the same kind of ephemeral quality that the Candyman movies do, or at least the early Candyman movies do. And I think because of that, it was because it's strange, even for horror, it was kind of off-putting to audiences. So it did not do as well as it probably should have. Like a lot of things, it became a cult classic rather than like, instantly embraced at the beginning. But I think it's well worth watching. Candyman is one of my favorite fucking horror movies of all time.
Okay. Well, let's flip to the other side then. The other side of this, which is, what the heck? Hold on. Old Jebediah Morningside himself, otherwise known as the Tall Man, the man from Phantasm. So, what do you know about him, Devil?
Well, let me just put it out there right off the bat. I'd beat both their asses. I'm just saying, Devil wins every time. No, he like I said, I've watched at least the first 2. The other ones after that, it was kind of sparse. I never really, like, when they were on, I would like, pay attention for 5 minutes, do something else. Like, it just, they really fell off quick. But from what I can remember, I believe he is from an alternate dimension. I do know that he has these little servants that I think they're like Jawas, like they're like creepy, like they don't have faces. He has these spheres that's his primary weapon, is these spheres that essentially have these blades come out and drills. in the later movies, I believe they actually added to them and made them where they have multiple weapons or do multiple things. But in the first one, it's primarily these 3 sharp, jagged blades and a drill in the middle, and they would hit you in the head and essentially drill through your head. He worked at a mortuary and drove around in the what do you call those? The Undertaker cars.
A hearse.
Hearse, yeah. He drove around in a hearse. It's real hard because, like I said, God, it's when I watched him, it was late 80s, early 90s. I mean, when I watched the first one, so it's been quite a bit of time. But I do remember there was scary parts of it. Not the most scary. Once again, just like with Candyman, they weren't the A-lister ones. He was. You're right. He's probably more CD list. The Tall Man, but there are also people who really love Phantasm, just like a cult classic type situation. But yeah, I never really got too much into him.
Okay. What about you, Nomi?
I really wasn't paying attention. We're talking about Hannibal, right?
No,
Nope.
we're talking. Okay, this is. I'm sorry, Nomi. This is my fault.
That's
So the Tall Man is a bit more obscure. I would say even maybe a little bit more than I don't know.
isn't just that known as Samuel?
No, different tall man.
Oh.
Also, not the long man. That's smaller.
Well, any black man will be the long man, but yeah, no. So here. Well, let me go this way. Here's what I know about him. I watched him when I was a kid, and the Tall Man. He was actually my introduction into horror movies. The Phantasm was the first thing I saw. It wasn't. It wasn't the Friday the 13th. It was Phantasm was the first horror movie I ever saw. In fact, it was Phantasm, and then I saw Thriller, which isn't really a movie; it's a movie music video, but kind of a mini movie. And then I saw Friday the 13th Part Two on. So I never knew that Jason's mother was a killer in Part One. I didn't know that. But what always got me about the Tall Man was how he raised that eyebrow and he say, "Boy," and that slow walk that he had, and when he would drive around with that hearse, he wasn't just driving around; he was clearing out entire towns. Like this guy was killing everybody. I mean that hearse was putting in work. So, I mean, I can only imagine how much his his maintenance cost was on that car. But yeah, he had those little demon things, and he had the spears. And one thing, it wasn't until later movies that I found out. I never. His movies are hard to follow, and I know Sam and I were discussing that uh, off stage. They're a little hard to follow because sometimes the good guys, they didn't win in the end, and it's like, okay, well, he got him, but here comes the next movie, and these guys are fine, as if they didn't just get holes drilled in their head in the previous movies. So it was hard to follow, and it wasn't until a few years ago that I found out that not only I thought there was like several different tall mans. Like you kill one and then another one gets loaded up, and there were different, realities. But it actually turns out, Devil, that the true form of the tall man is the dimension that he came from. What you're seeing, the tall man itself, it's an avatar. He's actually a dimension. In fact, I think he's called the red. I think he's called the red dimension.
Says there on the screen, red planet.
If you were gonna if you were gonna go for an avatar, you think he'd pick something less ugly, like just like he's all like,
I
yeah,
think
give me the squinty-eyed old tall dude body. Yeah, no, I'd be like, shit on that, dude. I
yeah.
go for the young, hot looking dude. It'd be easier to get victims, you know. I'm just like,
Yeah, I did a little bit of reading before we started the show on this subject, and I'll get into that in just a second. But before we get too much further, Nomi has to leave us.
Yeah, Nomi, as you guys know, Nomi normally works Fridays, and so she comes through when she can. We're always grateful to have her when she comes in. But we never put any pressure on her to stay the entire time or whatnot, because we know how often Nomi works, and the girl's got a lot going on. So anytime that you guys see her, know that she was able to carve out time to come out, to come here and spend time with us. So and that's why you always hear me say on other channels, people ask me what I'm doing, I say, hey, I'm doing Abyssal Musings with my co-host Samuel the Infamous, and Know Me Without You when she's not working, because she's normally working.
I'm normally working. Did I? I've been actually having a hell of a week, and yeah, it's been kind of killing my body. And I made a stupid decision to walk to work one day, and the back of my legs are eaten up by mosquitoes, and I just want to cry. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna hop off, guys, because my body's starting to shut down a little bit, and I can feel it. I don't want to pull a dermy and fall asleep on stream. Um, yeah, so you guys can catch me on Twix at No Me Without You, and my channel No Me Without You, and every Thursdays I have a show with some cool girls, and you can come through.
And Kick, she also plays video
Ah,
games on Kick.
yes, thank you for always reminding me, Larry. I am always on Kick. I might go live Sunday, Saturday. I do have a pretty jam-packed day, so yeah, just see me wherever you can see me.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks for coming in.
Night.
I know. I I might be on for a full show next Friday, but I can keep you posted.
Yay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, kids. Well, I'll catch you later. Sweet, scary dreams.
All right.
I know.
Have a good night, Nomi.
Good night, Nomi. um
Amir's so mad about this.
well, you know what? We have, folks, we have a local Jin in the chat.
Who started a race war in my chat?
Well, I mean, look, I can't she pretty much has me out in the cotton fields every day, so I can't go against her. She doesn't hire brown skinned people, as she said in the chat. She enslaves them. So case in point. So I'll just leave that right there. Smooth, you better be careful, because I know you're coming out here to visit soon, and she might smack you upside the head and take you too. So
Why,
you're not
Smooth's
brown, but
black?
you're well, Smooth is he's not black or brown, but as far as the lighter shades go, he is dark complected enough that she might have some kind of use for him. So
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Also, Voraxlon had to leave us. Thanks for coming by, buddy, and hanging out with us. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
right. So let's look at the okay. So this one, hold on. Let me go to the other one. This one doesn't have the it doesn't have the stats.
Or the powers.
This one does.
didn't look like.
So this is what scared me. This is the other one that I think that's from the first photo. That's from the later ones when he was older. This is what scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Like I said, I did a little bit of reading about this, and so those spheres that you see, Devil mentioned like these like little Jawa looking dudes who do his minion work.
Yeah.
So when he moves to a new town, apparently he that's why he opens up a funeral home so he can steal all the dead people. And then he converts them into his minions by crushing them down into those dwarf things. But their brains he takes out, and he turns those brains into the silver spheres.
Yeah, he puts them in the spheres. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're sort of the dwarves are kind of a byproduct of making the spheres.
Yeah. That in
Which is
itself is
weird.
creepy. That is creepy, man. And I remember, I can't remember which ending it was, and this is why I said it makes no sense, Double, because the main protagonist, his name is Reggie, and it was like, okay, so Reggie, how's Reggie gonna be in Phantasm 3 when at the end of Phantasm 2 he was crucified to a wall in those spheres and he was covered in those spheres? So how is he breathing? Because it normally only takes one.
Well, it with 80s, any 80s horror, it's not just this one. They kind of play loose with the story. There's big gaps and holes and things that don't make sense in the end. That's just 80s horror movies. But yeah, it is kind of like anyone who tries to play with or follow continuity in the movie, especially 80s horrors, you're gonna lose your mind because there's always massive gaps and they just change stuff from one movie to a next, and you're just supposed to go along with it. You're not supposed to sit there and go, a question, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like literally in perfect example in Jason Takes Manhattan, he's literally melted away in toxic waste, which they just happen to be lying around in the sewers. Then in the very next one, he's back, and then you don't find out till Jason X that he can literally regenerate from anything. So it's just like they just decided to go, yeah, that's why he's been, had a hatchet in the head, has been burnt, has been drowned, has all
He got
these
blown
things
up with an
happen to
RPG
Jason.
once.
Got blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Had
somehow
somebody's dead dad jump out of the lake water and grab him and drown him, and he got smacked upside the head with a boat rudder. I mean, just
yeah, propeller to the neck. Yeah, he all this stuff has happened, but that's how he keeps coming back. It's because now he can regenerate. Now he's literally unstoppable, and it takes you actually having to read the comic books that were. I don't know if they were like actually sold comic books or if they were a small comic book that was sold like attached to the movie, but you find out that he's actually either been possessed or like his blood is somehow attached to a demon, and it's so they really kind of the story. You have to look past the movies just to get the whole story of Jason Voorhees and stuff.
There's some details in the background that lend credence to the theory that he's actually some kind of deadite, because like there are a bunch of Evil Dead clips in the early movies. The Necronomicon shows up in at least 2 of them. Like the very same prop that was in the Evil Dead movies, kind of thing. And so like there's some on-screen support for the idea that he's some kind of deadite.
I think he's a super deadite.
Yeah, body's not the tall man.
I think he's I think he's a super deadite enhanced by the Necronomicon. Maybe his mom, got a hold of the Necronomicon or something. I don't know. But let's look at the tall man's stats. Near omniscience, you know what I mean? Omniscience, near invulnerability, telekinesis, immortality, regeneration, access to otherworldly technology that created the monsters. That means the alchemist too. Genius level intellect, resistance to disease, enhanced strength, stealth, ability to make his severed body parts become independent organisms, can command sentinels, onerokinesis, or nidrokinesis, whatever the hell it's called, mirror manifestation, shape-shifting, knowledge of alchemy, extrasensory perception, possession, paralysis inducement, clairvoyant. This guy is stacked with powers, man. resurrection, necromancy, I don't think Candyman stands. I don't know
I
about
don't
this.
know.
Invulnerability, intangibility, penetration, soul manipulation, time travel. I mean, he is a dimension. Reality
Yeah.
warping.
So what I'm reading here, and again, I'm taking this from a villains wiki too, because I haven't been able to get to the fucking movies. But from what it looks like, this. So when he was called Jebediah Morningside, which is why all of his every time he pops up in a new town, it's always the Morningside, like mortuary or funeral home or whatever. He was an ordinary dude once upon a time. Worked. It says here he worked as a medic for the Union Army during the Civil War. That he began experimenting with interdimensional travel during that time and studying the connection between the world of the living and the realm of the dead, to try and like unravel the mysteries of life and death and achieve immortality. And eventually he perfects a machine that allows him to travel between worlds. He steps through the gateway. When he comes back, he's no longer Jebediah. He's the tall man that we all know and know. But it's unclear as to whether or not his experiences in these other dimensions changed him into the tall man, or if something else on the other side hollowed him out and took his form.
Maybe. Well, that's what I'm getting to is that Jedediah Morningside. Because I do remember watching some of the movies. They said he was normal. Maybe the
He was a kind
dimension.
man.
Yeah, maybe the dimension got a hold of him, like you said, hollowed him out, and then uses him as an avatar.
Yeah. So like it's really unclear as to whether or not the tall man is in fact Jebediah, who's been altered by his adventures in time and space, or if it's something else just wearing his face. So it's just unknown. Apparently that's never explained in the fucking movies. So I don't know.
Yeah. So here comes the question for you both: who wins?
That's a good, like, this one's actually harder than the other ones just because their powers are so alike in a lot of categories. I don't know. This one's kind of a toss up. I don't think either one would win. I think the most you would get is a stalemate where because they're both essentially invulnerable. They're both, I mean, I guess he might have the edge in that he could literally just kill everyone who's afraid of the Candyman, and then Candyman would stop being able to manifest because there's nobody to fear him. While he doesn't count on people's fear to make him able to manifest. So I guess that would be the only thing I would say would give the tall man the advantage, is that he could just eliminate every single person who's afraid of the Candyman, and there goes the Candyman. That's I think I could come up
That's
with.
a good
Sorry.
point.
That's a good point. That's a very
It's
good
a good
point.
point. Like it's been speculated that the best way to kill a god is just to kill the believers.
And on Candyman's side, what could he do to get rid of Jacob Morningside? I mean, it's not like he could travel from dimension to dimension to dimension. Bye, Amira. Thank you for stopping by.
I don't know that he couldn't travel from dimension to dimension. Just because it's not something that's really come up doesn't necessarily mean that he couldn't do it. I would imagine if somebody went to another dimension via, say, the tall man's device and encountered a mirror and said his name 5 times, who's to say he couldn't come through?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I agree. This is a toss up.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup, that's for sure. I think where the tall man really has the edge is that he has an army of minions to do his bidding. Like he's got these dwarf dudes. He's got apparently a couple of other different kinds of minions called Gravers and Demon Troopers, and then he also obviously has the spheres. But he's essentially got an army and the potential to manufacture more of them. So in terms of like, I guess, sheer throwdown, probably I would give it to the tall man just because he could overwhelm Candyman with numbers. Unless they're all allergic to bees, and in which case I'd give it to Candyman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say, well, wait a minute. I mean, he's got the bees, but then again, what are the bees going to do to the spheres? And those
Yeah.
little Jawas are going to get a hold of his. They're going to get a hold of his little hook, and they're going to get get a hold of his other staff, and they're going to start tugging and pulling, and Candyman's he's not going to be so sweet anymore. I
Well,
think
here's the other thing: is that he could potentially get into the dreams of the minions and turn them against the tall man as well.
he could. Now, here's another thought. If Candyman could go back in time, he could get a hold of the tall man before he turns into the tall man. But then again, there's so many dimensions. Which dimension is the right one to go into?
I don't think he could take over the minions, because if he takes the brain out to make them into the orbs, you have to have a brain to have dreams. So they probably wouldn't be able to be manipulated like that. I think they're under his complete control, so it's not like they could be easily manipulated anyway.
What about the spheres?
I don't know. I don't
Do
think
the
the
spheres
spheres have
dream?
dreams either. Yeah, I don't know. That would be kind of weird.
I don't know.
We're asking questions of lore that they didn't really foresee, so they never really explained. We don't know if the spheres are self-aware, or if they're just like the drone, the Jawa creatures, if they just do what he says, if that's their only purpose. I don't know.
Good night, Keela. Good night also to Amira, who is dipping out on us after she's gone and started a race war in the chat. Let's see you tomorrow.
She's
yeah, I
like
don't know.
me. She just likes to burn it down.
I think here we run into the same problem that the MCU is having is that the tall man has access to a fucking multiverse. Right. And I'm not saying that Candyman couldn't like find a way to access that himself, but I don't think that he doesn't have the sheer quantity of resources that the tall man does.
No, he doesn't. And I think the tall man takes it. I think Devil's right. I think that the tall man has so many resources to, if he couldn't overwhelm him, he could keep him at bay so he can clean out the town so that nobody remembers Candyman. Once that happens, I mean, he's gonna systematically wipe this guy out a piece at a time. Like like that movie, like the Back to the Future, where Marty's picture was, his family's picture was, they were fading out slowly. It's gonna be like that. So, and like you said, what are those bees gonna do? They're not gonna hurt the tall man. The Jawas are brainless; they don't feel any pain. The spheres. I mean, come on, they're not gonna sting. They're not gonna sting through steel.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think Devil's right. I think the tall man takes this, which pains me to say because I think the Candyman's a better fucking character and those were better movies, but whatever. But I think in terms of like what their actual stats say, I think the tall man takes it. The tall man's got more in common with something like it than he's on a almost a different level, almost a different order of evil. Whereas the Candyman, essentially, when it boils down to it, he's a rumor with teeth.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm going with Tall Man.
All right. Well, then Tall Man takes it. So Candyman goes into the losers bracket. Tall Man lives to fight another day. Devil, I don't know if you plan on being on next week. If you'd like, I can send you a copy of the list, or Sam could. If you want to add monsters to the list, that's great. If you've got and I'll send an updated one so you'll see, who won, won their rounds and who didn't. But if you want to pick next week's battle, be my guest.
Yeah, if you send it, DM it to me, I'll look at it.
Yeah,
I
even if it's somebody in the losers bracket, that's fine.
Yeah, I never know if I'll be able to be on because it's just how quick everything happens at the restaurant. If I get everything done quick enough, if they're not busy. But yeah, if I'm gonna be here, I can weigh in on what one should be.
All right.
Sure thing.
Well, with that said, folks, at 1 hour and 55 minutes, we have completed the show. Um, I guess Double. We'll start with you. What you got going on?
Here in a little over an hour, we got the pub. This week our guests are Shaw couldn't make it, so we've got Static 2020. We've got Toasty, and who else do we have?
Tomby, I thought.
Tomby, that's right. I was all like,
Yeah.
God damn, I know there's 3 people coming. Tomby. And then we have I just recently dropped the 2nd episode of Devil's Angels. It was The Gods Must Be Crazy. So check that out. It was a lot of fun. Surprisingly, this one, not all the girls agreed. Not all the girls liked it. So it came with some funny discussions. Especially, we found out that green-haired anti-liberal is a pervert. So do watch that. Watch the first one, Manhunter. That was a good one. Next up on that, though, recording this weekend, Monday, we are doing Frequency. And then after that is The Fog. So look out for those. And yeah, catch me all different places when I can get on people's shows.
Okay.
Awesome stuff.
I guess I'll go next, folks. Excuse me. You can catch me right here next week with my co-host Sammy the Infamous, and Know Me Without You when she's not working, as I said earlier. Special thanks to Devil. He's a special guest here, so hopefully we'll see him again next week. If not, hey, guys, catch him on Beelzebub every Saturday. And tomorrow you can catch me in the chat as a moderator on the world famous Exiled Lioness 2 channel.
Yeah, I'm so giving her shit about this race war thing. So, yeah, I guess that brings it around to me. Like Devil said, in about an hour, I'll be over on the channel Beelzehub for Beelzepub, which is a great time, good fun show. And then in what time is it? Yeah, in about 15 hours or so, we'll be back here for Screaming Into the Void. I got a few topics pulled and some other stuff, so we'll see what happens with that one. I'm not 100% sure how the show's going to go. I don't have like a set plan. I'm not like super pissed off about anything this week as I was last week. And so we'll see what happens. There might be something come up between now and then, but come back for that, for Screaming Into the Void. On Monday, you can find myself. So Mellow Mondays might not be happening this week. If it is, I'll be over on that show. If it isn't, then you might catch me popping up on Bloodbath on Static 2020's channel. Just to, change of pace a little bit, because Static's been kind of getting at me to cheat on Adam for a while. So I don't know. Maybe this is the time. And like Larry, you can also find me over on Amira's channel, Exiled Lioness 2, where we moderate and do a bunch of other stuff that she doesn't pay us for behind the scenes. Thank you all for coming. It's been great. Yeah. Larry, you want to lead us out?
Yeah, folks. It could always be worse. You could have either mine or Sam's internet.
Yeah, that would suck. You don't want that.
Definitely. See you later.
Bye.
What is